All right, guys. Yes, so we are recording and we are starting. Welcome, everyone. So we are going to talk today about some best practices, how to take leads from prospecting to close. Um, we are going to share those best practices with you. Uh, Before that, we want to introduce ourselves. So my name is Arik. I'm the master of Tab Israel. I actually started to be involved with Tab about 10 years ago, uh, founded the Tab unit in the States. I was there after selling Israeli company to a US company and looking for the next stage in my career. I found Tab and my unit is still working. I sold it about a year ago and some of the members are still there. Uh, it took me about 3 years to decide that I must bring Tab to Israel. And at the end of 2018, we actually started Tab in Israel. Uh, and I'm very happy with my journey, very satisfied. Uh, Nir, please introduce yourself. I guess there are some very few people in Tab that don't know you, so maybe you should introduce yourself.
Everybody knows Nir.
Yeah, take off mute.
So yeah, well, it's so exciting to see uh, friends and getting to know new friends. And yeah, I've been with Tab for 3.5 years, and I met Eric by chance uh, um, through networking. And for the longest time, I've been dealing with business development and helping businesses grow. And my friends had been always telling me, listen, you need to do something for the mid-sized company because nobody is helping us. And we all alone there. And so I've said, yeah, I'm going to do something, but I didn't know what to do. And at the first day of the lockdown, after COVID, I met with Eric, and it was love at first sight. Said, "This is what I've been looking for." And instead of reinventing the wheel, I say, "Well, why not be a part of this community?" So 3.5 years later, we've got 5 boards, and we've got 35 people, and growing Stripe engagements and a lot of other stuff, and just about to launch a Stripe campaign, and been very fortunate to have new partners joining me in like Shmulik, and it's so exciting. I think that Tab is exactly the platform that going to generate a major impact here locally, but I think globally. So I'll be happy to share. And yes, my son is competing this Friday in swimming. He's 12 years old, and I'm stressed more than he does.
Thank you, Nir. So now more people know you in Tab. That's good. Nir is very active in all Tab in Tab communities, and we really enjoy having him in Tab Israel. He's the first TBO in Israel, and the second TBO in Israel is Shmulik. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. People I know, people I don't know, future friends. So I'm Shmulik Aran. My career was around high tech for 30 years, both in the medium and big size companies, but also startup companies. Lately, I was doing VC for venture capital for like 7 years, and then I was the CEO of a company that I sold to Honeywell about 3, 4 years ago. Then I looked around and said, okay, now I want to work with leaders of companies and mentor them and work with them. I started studying coaching and group mentorship by myself, and then I met Arik, met Tab, and came on board about 2+ years ago. I have now 3 boards, 17 members, and growing, enjoying the work with the group, enjoying work with the group of TBOs in Israel by the leadership of Arik. And there's also something in my history which is not relevant, but I'll mention it anyway. I was also a clown. So.
And we are using these characteristics every once in a while, this experience. Thank you, Shmulik. And we also have Elinor here, and Elinor is the community manager for Israel, and she is going to divide us to rooms, send us the feedback at the end. Thank you for coming in, and supporting us. So basically, we are not going to offer today anything that is different than the tab process. Actually, we are recommending to stick to the process and make it simple and not make it too complicated. We are going to focus on some experience and some best practice, but we are very much educating, and people hear me, I guess, every other week or so, how much it is important to stick to the process. The process is working. Tab Israel, by the way, is close to 100 members today. We have 6 active units, and Tab Israel is also, from the very beginning, is a non-exclusive territory country, and it's working very well. And as you can see here, we are very collaborative. So we want to talk on identifying prospects for the first meeting. So the issue is how we can see someone on LinkedIn, networking event, just get his name, how we can get him for the first meeting. We're going to share one success stories before each session, and then we're going to go to breakout rooms and kind of try to pick some success stories from the group and come back and share it with the others. So Shmulik, please share a success story, how you got the way that worked for you to get prospects for the first meeting.
Okay, so LinkedIn, you're playing with messages and we're trying here and there and changing the order and trying. And I was thinking what could catch the interest or catch the eye of the people that get so many messages. That one of the ways I was doing it, I was starting the message by saying, did you know that Thomas Edison and Henry Ford were together on an executive peer board? And apparently I got some many reactions to that. People liked the thing. It was catchy, and some of them even wrote to me, that they answered because of this special sentence. One of them even mentioned, actually two, actually came back and said, you know that Henry Ford was actually anti-Semitic and supported the Nazi regime. But that were two people out of a lot. So it worked very well for me.
Thank you, Shmulik. So this is like one story about something different that we were doing in order to get people to be engaged with us. So we're going to share now those stories in smaller breakout rooms. We're going to break out for about 10 minutes and then come back here and share those stories. So Elinor, please send us to the rooms. I guess put me on mute when I got back from the room. So all right. So let's share a little bit what we discussed in these rooms. So everyone is back.
I think so, yeah.
So I'll share some of the advice that that we got in my room, then Nir, then Shmulik. So some of the advice say use owner-to-owner call instead of just sending digital message. Just call someone and ask for the meeting. Another very interesting advice was to use personal mail by envelope that even signed by us personally. Leah mentioned using voicemail through LinkedIn. So this is something that I need to learn myself, but this is really interesting. There was another advice to use campaign for specific field and then add some content that is relevant for this specific field. And one advice that we are going to show also soon that it's part of ours is to offer only 15 minutes meeting. So it's a short meeting, doesn't take too much time. And another thing was to use referral when we do the owner-to-owner call. Try to use referral. This someone was referring me to you, and then it's easy to get over the gatekeeper and get to talk to the owner. Nir, what you got in your room?
So I'm going to add a lot of, that's what's so nice about it. A lot of it has been said in here too. I would add one. Well, this is an ad for the Netherlands following us, talking about the the sales navigator process, and Vincent talked about the reverse engineering, the avatar, how to define the ideal prospect. So level 30, Vincent, that's for you. And the other thing that I think is really important, and using the community, and personally, yes, I've been very active in the tab calls, the acquisition calls, and whatnot. So there is a great support system, and especially if you are a veteran. The new ones are showing more and more, but show up to the meetings, come to the engagement calls. This constant training helps a lot in improving those first crucial calls.
Okay, thank you, Nir. Shmulik, anything?
Yeah.
I will give you to be the first the next time. So just tell us what. If there's anything else,
I'll be short.
Yeah.
I'll be short. Two inputs that were echoed. One, Pierre used the scarcity trick. You know, there's one spot for a person in your industry. If you don't take it now, I'll go to the next one, which works for him. And Rian mentioned responding to prospect articles on LinkedIn. So responding on their articles that gave him a lot of reaction.
Thank you. And this is what we prepared before the meeting. We collected best practices that working for us here in Israel. So we mentioned already sending an unusual message, like a message that is surprising. It's really important. We found it really important to send several messages, if not responded, not to give up. Send messages through various channels, not just on LinkedIn or email to find other channels. And make it easy to accept or to set up the meeting, offer a 15 minutes phone call, and also send link to Calendly so it's easy to schedule the meeting, and to use in those messages peer-to-peer approach. We are business owners that looking for other business owners. These are the best practices that we found before the meeting, and I think that together with the other thing that were discussed here, I guess we got a little bit richer with best practices, how to get the first meeting. So now let's move to first meeting to the second meeting, how we can get, what is the best practice to get the second meeting. And the second meeting can be either face-to-face meeting or can be sampleable. But what is basically the first way to get from the first meeting to the second meeting? We are going to break to other rooms now, discuss it for a few minutes, and then come back. All right, everyone. It takes Zoom some time to bring us all back. So let's share what we heard in your rooms. Shmuley, can you share some best practices?
Yes. David said that he focuses the first meeting on buying into himself and the person. He focused on the personal level, where the second meeting will be focused on the business, assuming they want to work together. That's the focus. And several people talked about the after and the pain points. People mentioned demonstration on BBB. Elmarie mentioned that. And Peter said informative but incomplete. And build what we're going to discuss next time. So this is your pain point. We can solve it. Let's discuss it next time. And somebody else also said, make the second meeting like a natural continuation of the first meeting. So it's something that it's like obvious. It's not a special thing.
Thank you so much. Nir, what was something new, something more in your room?
All right. Let's talk about trust and the peer-to-peer approach, and planned events, like have simple boards, dates 2-3 months ahead. And at the end, if we have time, I'll share a quick story about the rapport building and the peer-to-peer approach. So if we've got 1 minute, then I'll share a story real quick.
All right. So in the meantime, in my room, Wayne talk about sample boards and be guest advisor in the board is a very helpful way. We mentioned to be interested in them and be the buyer, not the seller. I mean, we are looking for people, so basically qualifying them and have it like a mutual, make sure that I understand that it's a mutual evaluation process. I will share with you what we prepare beforehand. Yeah. Okay, sorry. So it's going back to the beginning. All right, so
While you're loading this up, I would just say, here's an example that sums a lot of what's been said. A prospect that arrived through telemeeting. So I call the prospect in the right hour, and the prospect forgets that the date was there. I mean, he just was so swamped that he didn't look at his calendar, he didn't see the notices. So we started the conversation, him apologizing for not seeing it. And the real quick question is this a good time for you? And he says, yeah, well, let's have a short meeting. All right. So this is a really quick meeting to see if we are a good fit, if there's a need for a second one. So ask him right after getaway, so what do you know about us? So he says, I don't know much about you. It's a cold meeting. It's got to for the telemeeting. And instead of starting explaining and giving the regular pitch, I didn't buy it. Just said, well, I'll tell you in a second, but from what you remember, what is the one stuff that interested you in this peer-to-peer board, this forum? It says, yeah, it sounds interesting. And really quickly, I went into what would be your main challenge. And the main challenge was he is swamped, he's stressed. And instead of trying to solve it and giving all the information, what would be the end result? What would be your vision? And out of that, it just says, well, I'm stressed, and just said, you want to solve this stress issue? And he says, yes. And eventually, instead, I mean, it really was 10 minutes out of those 3 minutes were just him apologizing for missing the meeting. And I said, let's have a coaching session about it. And the rest is history. He became a member at the coaching session. So
Thank you, Neil. It's a good story. We are a little bit short of time, so let's move faster. Thing that we mentioned from first meeting to second meeting is again, we collected it from Tab Israel beforehand. Some of it was saying today. So first thing is to be in control in the meeting. So basically, we are asking the question, they are talking, and we are more like hearing them. We have a proud business owner mindset when we come to those meetings. To remember that it's a mutual evaluation and ask early about challenges so we can start kind of helping them in this first meeting. And one thing that is really important to have a prepared elevator pitch for us, because sometimes they ask who you are and something, and we need to be short, precise, and move back to ask them questions. We need to remember that in the first meeting we are selling only one thing. We are selling the next meeting, and as people said here, we need to be incomplete and to leave some curiosity to move on in our process. We have less time to discuss the most important thing, how to move from second meeting to closing. One of the quick, and we are going to break for 5 minutes rooms in a second. Example of a story that was working for me once. I came to the second meeting, and I asked the business owner if she knows what exactly they're doing. I told her I couldn't understand what you guys are doing. And she goes, like she was high deep probably, she goes, you had 1 week to get prepared. You couldn't look at our website and know what we are doing. I said, I did look at your website and I still don't know what you're doing. And then she goes, what you're saying? This is like a brand new website. My daughter actually was doing it for us. I said, let's look together in your website and see if you can say if it says what you're doing. Anyway, she became a member immediately after this conversation. It wasn't even 1 hour second meeting. So this type of success stories we would love to hear in the break room. And please break it for 5 minutes, and then we will have 5 minutes for the closing. All right, so we are back. We might be another 5 minutes in this session, so I apologize for not. I mean, we had lot to cover, so it will be 5 minutes later. If you guys have back to back, we understand. So we go to Nir. Nir, please share what was discussed in your room. You're on mute.
Yeah, there was a great emphasis about sticking to the process, the 22 questions about summing up at the end the pain and the solution. Invite to the board. Let's do together. Let's start the journey together. And I would end with the WAIT, which is the acronym for Why Am I Talking? And just before the close, really kind of give a pause and let go of Mark from France, really emphasizing and count. I mean, make fewer words count. So wait before the closing.
Okay. This is great stuff. Shmulik, anything else in your room?
Yes. So Ralph doing mainly sample board essay, do the feedback session, the follow-up session after the sample board, help him to close. David was talking about we. Shall we give it a try? Shall we? And talking about enjoyment. You might enjoy, not only solve a solution, but you might enjoy this. Vincent talking about what will be your first board issue, and start to work on that, preparing to the board, and asking, do you have think about a good place to host it? Actually, that helps him a lot. And I use the scarcity. There's one space for a person like you in the board. Thank you.
All right. So this is a good stuff again. So in my room, we basically focused on identifying the pain points, and also basically talking about what you don't have any. There is nothing you can lose by joining a board. All you can do, you can gain some good ideas. And let me tell you what.
Arik, do you see that Vincent has his hand up?
Can we wait a second, Vincent? We're getting to the point that we actually going to ask people for feedback and questions. So thing that we collected here in Israel. So one thing that is really important, and it was mentioned also in my room, start the second meeting for where you stopped the first meeting. So if we all discuss some stuff in the first meeting, continue from there. Get early to the personal vision, pain, whatever we call it, but get early there. Ask what happened if not. I mean, if you continue being where you are, what happens? What are the risks if continuing to do the same way? To ask if they are ready to go off their comfort zone to be successful. And if there is an objection, make sure we understand what is the objection. And typically it's never the money, by the way. And to present peer board as a standard way of life for successful business owners, and have some members' success stories with you to share when it comes to similar challenges, to talk about successful members and make it easy. I mean, you can join. If you don't like it, you can decide. It's easy decision to make to not to stay. So these are the best practice. I also attached in the chat box like a paper that we prepared for you guys to take with you and maybe continue this exercise and get all those best practices. We listed ours, but you can also add what we heard here and see what are the challenges that these best practices are solving. So please free to copy it, and also don't forget to do the survey. And now few minutes for questions. I see Vincent and then Ralph. Comment session. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you all. No, not a question, not a comment other than to thank you. For those who are interested in a follow-up, in 1.5 hours at 11:30 Central Europe time, we have prepared a session that is about this, which is called You Only Have to Show Up. Basically, it's a continuation of what we discussed now. So if you feel there's more for you to get, please join us on that session. I'm not trying to sell it, Eric, but join us on that session. You're most welcome.
Okay, thank you.
All sharp there, Vincent.
And Ralph, you raised your hand too.
Sorry, my bad. Just some fraud.
Okay. All right. So anyone wants to, maybe we can do one person. Anyone want to share some takeaways from today?
Just before I put the survey, the feedback form, so you're welcome to fill it out. And
I think it was posted already, but you can do it again.
yeah, but I think I'm not seeing the presentation, either the worksheet. So maybe if you could read.
No, it's posted in the book of the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone with best takeaway? Anyone want to share something? Did we learn anything today?
Best takeaway.
Yeah, I think from my side, definitely little nuggets that you pick up, because been in TAB for about a year and I've gone through the process, and the training is still fairly fresh, but you hear Wayne say something and then you hear somebody else say something, you sort of pick something up. I like the part of Noor ending it off about, what will it cost if you don't sign up? I think that for me is a big takeaway. Some of the other guys also said in that first meeting, make it less about you. And this takes me back to a first meeting that I had 2 days ago, where the client was in a rush and he's like, well, tell me about it. And it was me talking all the time. And that was an absolute disaster of a first meeting. It should have been him telling me about his business. But, so what I've taken away from this is stay interested in the first meeting. So it's about him telling you, not the other way around. And when you close off, I think I'm definitely going to close with this line. Thank you, Noor. What will it cost if you don't sign up? That for me is brilliant. Thanks.
I want to thank you all for joining us today. I want to thank
Wayne got his hand up.
Yeah, you have. I still look at the chat. You can have the form. You can have the document if you want to take it. Thank Elinor for being behind the scene with all the pressure, changing and being on time. And I hope to see you in the next sessions. Vincent, we will come to yours.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Stop recording. Stop the recording.